transfers, or at least acquiring. That's just over there. It's not even there. Real quickly, I already did an intro, but I'm going to put this part added into the video I made yesterday. I didn't upload it just because I thought some more news would come out for USC football, and they did, so I'm going to talk about that right now and some other quick stuff, and then you'll get into the intro officially again. But yes, a 4-star tight end out of the state of Georgia, Walter Matthews, committed to USC football earlier this day. It's really nice because obviously you're stealing a guy from the state of Georgia. He's not going to go over to that team, but they already have some pretty good, talented tight ends already committed to their class, so it's not that surprising. He's not going to go out there, but did steal him away from other places like South Carolina, stuff like that in the SEC. And obviously he mentioned how great Lincoln Riley's offense is and his opportunity to play in it. So it's a pretty big get to get a 4-star guy, and I think it already bumped USC's class from like 13, I think it was 14 overall, to the number 12 team off of just one commit. So either way, it's going to be a top 10 class at the end of the day, in my opinion, for the 2024 class. But USC does have a little bit of transfer news as far as their defense. The cornerback Latrell McCutcheon, who transferred from Oklahoma last year, along with the coach and all those other players as well, didn't really get much playing time. I don't know if it was because he was still coming back from an injury or just didn't understand the defense, even though he was part of the system. So I don't understand why he didn't get much playing time. He thought he was going to get more this season coming up, but apparently he's entered the portal, so we'll see where he goes. Don't really have any ill feelings toward him just because he never really got to play and didn't really see how bad he was or that, but maybe he just saw the writing on the wall that USC is getting a lot of good, talented recruits, not only coming in from high school, but already on the team as well. Didn't see enough playing time for himself, but it is kind of weird that he kind of saw that afterwards. And if he already transferred in his career, this is already his second transfer, so it's not like he can just start playing for a team this fall coming up, I don't believe. I think you have to sit out a whole year like how the old school way was. So either way, it's kind of interesting that he did it as of right now, but we'll see where he lands, and good luck to him either way. So yeah, it's a bit of NBA trade rumors. Bradley Beal is obviously available on the trade market as of right now from Washington Wizards. I know he hasn't been available as of late. I know Lakers fans want him a lot, but I don't know. If you're going to have to give up AD or LeBron, I don't even think he would want to do that because he's the only player in the NBA, I believe, with a no trade clause, so he can decide if he wants to go to any team or not. And a lot of people say places like the Miami Heat, but he's a guy that kind of gets injured a bit or doesn't look like he kind of wants to work the way the Miami Heat organization work, where you're constantly checking like body fat and doing all this crazy athletic stuff. So I don't know if he's a good fit down there, but be awesome to get him. Like I said, if we don't lose the likes of LeBron or Anthony Davis, but we will see. And then ex-Duke player Zion Williamson of the Pelicans. Apparently, some people have been saying that if the Pelicans have a chance to move up in the draft and get a player and a guy like Scoot Henderson, who's one of the top G League players, he obviously skipped college for 1 year, played in the G League, got paid, and now he's going to be most likely a top pick overall other than that French tall dude. But if the Pelicans believe they can get him, they're going to want to move up and even involve Zion in that trade because they might be kind of done with his, on and off, whether he's injured or re-injuring right before he comes back and all this stuff and some other social media drama that's been happening with, I don't know if it's his current girlfriend or ex-girlfriend, I don't know what the heck, something's been going on, but either way, that's not basketball news. But yeah, it is pretty interesting that they're already going to give up on him, even though they gave him that big-time extension. Obviously, you want to try to keep players like this on your team no matter what, but the fact that he's played in probably less than 50% of the games as he's been in the NBA, it's probably a pretty strong indication that you might want to move on from him, and maybe Portland gets him. That could be a nice place for him, but you just never know, so we'll see. Then they did some type of weird comparison for the Nuggets winning a few days ago to the 2011 Dallas Mavericks team that won, because there are a lot of pretty weird similarities that they're led by a European star, obviously Dirk Nowitzki from Germany for Dallas, and Nikola from Serbia, I believe. And then they also beat a team that Kevin Durant was on their way to the playoffs. They also, both teams swept the Lakers in that playoff series. I think they're also a team that has one all-star, the main guy, but no other teammates are all-stars as well. And they also beat the Miami Heat in the finals as well. I think maybe that Dallas team had to go to 6 games, unlike Denver that beat them in 5. But either way, it's pretty weird similarities going on with those two teams. Maybe the NBA just copied and pasted that script and did that for, and they're both first-time winners for the title as well, which is also kind of a glaring thing to maybe think about. Maybe the NBA is fixed. You never know, but I guess we'll see what happens. But yes, let's get into the rest of the video. What's going on, dudes and dudettes? So I want to do a quick big congratulations to ex-Duke player Jack White. Obviously, last night winning the NBA championship with the Denver Nuggets. Obviously, well earned. He didn't make the team right away. He was undrafted, but had a two-way, then eventually got regular contract, and now you can say he's an NBA champion, which is pretty cool. So congrats to him either way. And yeah, I guess we'll see how Denver does, because you know they're going to have a lot of free agents and stuff here from on out. So we'll see how they do in the summer. Then when it comes to a couple of predictions for USC football recruits coming out of high school, the 5-star running back Taylor Tatum, who's considered the #1 running back overall out of Texas, recently got a 50+% percentage to pick USC, a prediction from one of USC's like lead scouts out there, or who works for WeAreSC.com and On3.com. So I guess it's a little bit biased, but he is more in tune and hearing stuff. So I guess we got to take his word for it. So that's a pretty good sign right there for the one of the top running backs overall in this year's class. And then also a 4-star cornerback from Mater Dei out here in SoCal, Xavier Brown, was also recently given like a 60+% chance to land at USC. But it was kind of surprising that it wasn't from a regular scout, like a non-part of who was only following USC, kind of like the guys who run the website, but it was from the Oregon Ducks insider who said that he is predicting that player will land with USC, and for some reason not with the Ducks. But obviously he's hearing more news because he is an insider with the recruiting and stuff, so hopefully that is some positive stuff going forward recruiting wise for USC. Definitely looking to get both of these guys on the roster at some point in the near future. And 4-star defensive lineman, I think he's from the state of Pennsylvania. He recently put out a top 3. I know Penn State's in there, maybe Michigan, I could be wrong, but USC did make the list also, because he recently said too, after that list came out, that he is from a USC family. So it's pretty big time when they were able to send him out an offer and be able to, I don't know if he did officially visit USC or not. I know he unofficially visited, but for USC to still make his top 3 for one of the top 4-star defensive linemen out there, I think it's pretty good, especially all the way across the country. And him already being a USC fan, I think it's looking positive for USC and their defensive line recruits. So looking forward to him deciding where he's going to go sometime soon. And I don't know if I said that player's name, David. It looks like Pale, the N, but I'm pretty sure it's Pale. He is a Samoan descent, so it looks like it could be Pale. Excuse me if I'm getting that incorrect. But a couple of 3 more players were recently put on the official visit list for June 15th, I believe it is. So this weekend coming up, a couple of the top guys: 4-star running back DeAndre Ridden, a top junior college cornerback in Sione Laulea, hopefully I'm saying that correct as well, and a 4-star wide receiver Adrian Wilson are all going to be visiting on June 15th. So that's going to be pretty cool this weekend, hoping for a lot of these guys to sign as well. I know USC pretty much had only two guys this last weekend, in Peyton Woodyard and Kingston Viliamo Asa, and obviously it went great. They were pictured with ex-great Hall of Famer and USC Trojan Troy Polamalu, who usually never comes out and helps recruit, but USC definitely needed him for this because Woodyard is already committed to Georgia, and maybe that could have swayed him or not. You never know, but both guys have been recently saying, especially today on like Twitter and social media, that it was a great visit. They definitely felt like it was home. Don't know if they're taking more of their official visits or not, but hoping to hear some good news because I know even some other safeties I heard, I believe it was from Mark Culkin or some other USC insider that said that a safety a player at that position in high school called USC to make sure if it was okay for him to say he was going to commit to USC, but they had said that they already have his spot filled up with someone else, so that hasn't officially committed yet. So they're already turning down guys because of how many guys want to play at that position, which is always a good thing. You might miss out on some guys, but if it's to replace to get a 5-star like Peyton Woodyard, then I think it's a pretty okay dismissal of that recruit. Either way, definitely looking forward to see who those unclaimed fight on emojis are for. And then the House of Victory recently did a couple signings actually, the past 2 days. The first one was the defensive back Max Williams from the football team, and then a volleyball player, I think she's a freshman, name is Madison Paitish. Don't know if I'm saying, I'm not saying that last name correctly. Haven't heard it been said out loud yet, but congrats to all of them getting, into the House of Victory house, as they say it, and getting on their NIL evaluations and looking to make money and all that stuff. So congrats to all of them in their near future. And Rui Hachimura of the Lakers recently put out a statement saying that, being with the Lakers has been really good, not only for him, but his career as well. And he's going to wait to see what happens in the near future to see if he's going to end up re-signing with them or not, which is a little bit surprising because I kind of thought it would be a done deal for the Lakers themselves to bring him back, but maybe it's not so in concrete with him and his agent. So maybe they're a little bit off on money, but we'll see what happens in the next coming weeks or so, because it already surprised me that the NBA draft is going to be June 22nd, which is, like next week? So it's pretty freaking quick nowadays. It usually used to be like waiting till like July, but now it's like a week or two after the finals end. So that's pretty crazy. So definitely looking forward to see who will be coming in to the NBA from those future prospects as well. And then I had gotten this picture the other day, but for some reason I didn't put it up or put it in my notes to talk about. But yes, I believe it was Friday, Dalvin Cook of the Minnesota Vikings, the running back, was officially released from the team, which is still pretty crazy because you thought you could have gotten something in a trade for him, but apparently nobody wanted him. Now that's another really good player that the Chargers could look to sign right now in free agency. I know DeAndre Hopkins is still looking and talking with teams. I think he's recently met with the Tennessee Titans. So you never know, but get a nice running back to pair up with Austin Eckler would be really good as well. But I'm hearing like the Jets or Buffalo, maybe Miami. Just seems like he's going to go to a team in the AFC East. So it'll be cool if he goes to Buffalo because it'll be paired up with his brother as well up there. But I don't know. It looks like a pretty crowded running back room, in my opinion. And then J.C. Jackson recently is making like a lot of doctors marvel at his speedy recovery from his ACL injury because they definitely thought he'd be mending a lot more and not being to be as active as he is as of this second. But it looks like it's, as they said, a speedy recovery, and maybe he's even going to be able to avoid the PUP list, which is usually a list for players who are injured before the season, but they're going to be able to come back at some point within the season. So I think it's like the first 6 to 8 weeks, something like that. You kind of have the ability to make them official and then release somebody off your schedule to make room for them. And then they hopefully will be able to be healthy enough to come back and help contribute from the midpoint to later in the season. But yeah, as of right now, it looks like he's going to be able to avoid that, which is pretty cool. And then he even said recently, just today or the other day, that he's going to be ready for week 1 no matter what. He feels ready. So looking good. I don't want them to push it because they are putting a bunch of money in him. They did sign him to that big contract, but even after this season coming up, if he doesn't end up playing or the injury gets worse, they do have like a nice thing in his contract where they could let him go after 2 years and they won't have to be on the hook for all that money either. So it kind of works out in the Chargers' way. Either situation that happens, but hoping for the best positive one because he was a pretty great player before that injury. And Mike Dunleavy Jr., an ex-USC basketball player, has recently been like an assistant GM in the Warriors organization. And recently Bob Myers, who's been running all that stuff, drafted Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, built that dynasty. And for some reason the other day or a couple weeks ago, he resigned or said he's leaving the team, which is pretty crazy. But you know, he is next in line, the ex-Duke guy, Mike Dunleavy Jr., so maybe he gets a shot. You never know, but be a nice opportunity for him to get that shot with the Warriors organization. But it could be difficult, too, because a lot of those stars are aging, and you might have to make big trades and stuff, but it could also look good on your career, too, if you make some good trades as well. And then Duke basketball did add Hofstra University to their 2023 non-basketball or non-conference schedule. So they are going to be playing later this year. I don't know if that officially sews up their list of teams to play this year before conference play, but we will see. Hofstra should be a pretty easy game for them, especially with the amount of talent Duke has. So a nice build-up game before they get into conference play as well. So looking forward to that. And yes, just the other day, I forget if it was 21 or 22 years since the release of Blink-182's probably second to third biggest, if not best, album, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. Yes, if you... It was a weird title. It's a long title, and you don't understand the joke unless you say it really slowly, which they even got, you know, David Letterman to say it when they played live on his show during that time, and he obviously let out a chuckle at the end because he knew what the metaphor was. Take off, yeah, because it's literally like a plane taking off. It shows a picture of a jacket and pants, but you really know what it's trying to say. But yeah, one of the better albums that they have. First Date is obviously one of the bigger songs. Anthem Part 2, Online Songs, Please Take Me Home. A lot of great songs on that record. Stay Together for the Kids is the song they usually play as well. So yeah, congrats to them, and you know, definitely looking forward to their concert this summer. It'll be pretty cool to make it, but those tickets are pricey, so I'm not gonna push it either. So Duke football, I usually don't talk about them, but I wanted to get this out of the way because they did have like a big resurgence the past couple of days. It was almost like USC that other day where they had like 5 or 6 recruits added to their 2024 class. Duke, in the past couple days or weeks, had added like 9 of their 13 players, and it jumped them all the way up to the number 22 class overall, which is pretty crazy. USC is still hanging around that 13 and 14 range. They don't have as many players as Duke does, but Duke's players are usually ranked a little bit higher anyway, so that's why the ranking is a little bit better. But wanted to give some love to the Duke football team because they did get some pretty good recruits, and obviously it's looking good for them if they're already ranked number 22 and could add more to that and be a top 20, top 15 overall school. So let me get into some of the more recent players. A cornerback who is not ranked, or his ranking is not available, Zach Jackson. A 3-star defensive end, Tyshawn Reed Jr. A 3-star linebacker, Montrez Smith. A 4-star quarterback, Tyler Cherry. 3-star athlete, Devontae Floyd. 3-star offensive tackle, Mason Wade. 4-star safety, Paul Menke Jr. 3-star cornerback, Kyron Condell. And 3-star offensive tackle, Robert Borden. So yes, like I said, 9 of the 13 commits total recently happened. So that's pretty crazy for them. They got a 4-star quarterback in Tyler Cherry, who'll be a nice guy, to add once Riley Leonard decides to leave whether it's the year after this, because he's only going to be a sophomore this season coming up, or his senior year as well. So either way, Cherry should be next in line. And then that 4-star safety, Paul Menke Jr., is one of the top guys they were able to steal from a lot of other schools as well. So yes, Duke football is definitely moving onward and upward. This guy, Mike Elko, who was, I believe, with Texas A&M before this, has obviously shown he can recruit and coach these guys. They do have a pretty tough schedule this year, but even if they're around 500 or a little bit more, it should still be a positive thing for them recruit-wise and everything. Mays hitting the freaking stick, I don't know why. But yes, either way, congrats to them. Definitely looking forward. It's not only USC football, but Duke football as well. I never thought I'd state those words ever, but yes, definitely looking forward to both those teams and rooting for them in this fall coming up. So yes, thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.